But what I became a master at was dimming my own light and saying, I'm not going to turn my light off and be all the way representing darkness. You know what I'm saying? But
maybe I'll just dial it back.
I'm going to dim that sucker because dimming it makes it easier for me to exist with the people who are used to consuming darkness and living in darkness, you know? So I experienced that early on, man. Like bro, I've been the same way, bro. I don't curse in any of my music. I never have. I always put God first in it. But my first tour was with Grand Hustle, T.I.'s label.
Yeah.
So I'm on the tour bus with Young Dro, Killer Mike, and Pac Div from out here in L.A., right? I love all those brothers passionately, right? Our music, especially in 2011, was very different. You know, my music was very different. So I was in a space to where I finally feel like I'm getting my foot in the door. I'm no longer the middle school math teacher back in Louisiana. But as I'm getting my foot in the door, it's instantly like, how can I retain as much of who I am as possible, but give these artists who are now my peers and these audiences that I'm in front of as much of what they're used to as possible. So instantly, and what that was requiring was, don't shine your light too bright because it might be too much for certain people. So it was like, how much to dial it back, you know? And after that, I go on tour with Macklemore, right? This is right when The Heist comes out, you know? So same thing. I'm just like, okay, how do I give these people every night what it is that they want? You know, then it's record labels start calling, Cash Money Records, YMCMB, you know, that's the hometown heroes from New Orleans.
Of course.
They fly me out to Miami, you know, Birdman and Slim, and I have an opportunity to sign with them. And it's like, man, I mean, it's a dream come true in my hood. If I call Charlie, if I call William right now, if I call Carl, you know, God bless the dead, like any of my people, I'm just like, man, they're going to be like, you made it. Like, That's what we would all want. But me, I'm knowing that, like, man, it's requiring me to dim that light. And I'm constantly going through this. I get signed to RCA Records and, you know, all of this stuff. I think it was me feeling a sense of shame when I came home from the Macklemore tour. I came back to New Orleans. I had a pocket full of money, you know, I'm talking about, like, made a lot of money on that tour. But I came back feeling ashamed and empty because I felt like I mastered the art of dimming my own light to give people what they wanted every night. And what they received was something that worked for me during those 45 minutes while I was on stage. It worked for me to get a favorable impression, you know, from them and for them to come buy some merch and whatnot. But it wasn't that same dude that has a bright light that God has put into this industry to fully shine that light.
Which is crazy because I'm not super up on the music of Macklemore, but I feel like he doesn't make like particularly viant, drug glorifying music. So
correct.
Like, what was that sort of like a tuning that you had to do?
Yeah, so there's three categories of music that I, you know, once again, a lot of things happen in threes.
Sure.
Me, you know, but there's the overt glorification of evil, you know, and murder and drugs and whatnot. There's that, right? Then there's this big space where a lot of people exist to where it's like, you know what? I'm not glorifying that, but I'm also not openly opposing that.
Sure.
You know, and offering something different. And it's this space to where it's very much saying, hey, I don't want to rock the boat too much. You know, like on either side. I'm just kind of here to make my impact, make my money, and it's all good, you know. Then there's the people who are like, I'm put here to shine this light so bright that it's going to inspire people and it's going to upset people. If it's not upsetting the people who are on the opposite side, then I'm actually not doing my job.
It's not working.
It's not working.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm that. I'm number 3.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
I'm number 3.
Yeah.
I've been around number 1, grew up around number 1, grew up loving and making heroes and idols out of people who do that number 1. And I've experienced a lot of number 2 in this industry.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And it's no disrespect to any of them. But I, you know, started to recognize in my own manhood, like I'm number 3, you know? And I'm number 3 in a way that is like, I love you. Like I love all of y'all.
Right.
But I love you too much to not be honest with you about the ways in which some of us have been tricked. into thinking that what we're doing isn't a problem.
Is there a compartmentalization that exists where do you still enjoy or do you hold space for the number ones, or are you at a point?
They featured on my album. What you mean? Like I hold space. Like they my friends,
So, but I'm asking, how does that work?
Because bro, I could be your friend and we sit here and have this conversation and genuinely have love for you. And then when we leave from being here together, if what you choose to do, because these people aren't like this in real life.
Right, because they're
the number
propagating...
ones aren't, 99% of them
covert threes or covert twos.
They aren't killing people, bro. They aren't out here actively selling dope. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you sold drugs in the past? Oh, welcome to my family. My family members have done that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you did this? Like, okay, cool. All of that, none of that is foreign to me. None of that is like, oh, bro, you're too much of a sinner to hang around me. Bro, I'm so flawed, bro. I'm sitting here. I love being around this brother because it helps me. I'm fasting while I'm on this tour with him, to purify my eyes and my mind and my spirit and just to be the best version of me. So it helps to be around a brother like this who really walks it like he talks it. But yeah, bro, like it's not hard for me to hold space with them. And off the mic, a lot of them are like, D, we love you, we respect you, we look up to you. You know what I mean? It's just that when they get on the mic, they're like, man, I've been getting paid for the past 20 years off of being a number one on the mic. You know what I'm saying? So that's my safe haven. That's my safe space. So for me, that's the conversations that I'm here for. I'm here to have these conversations now. I'm here to have these conversations with other artists. It can be privately, because they try to cast me off as a clout chaser, the people like the Joe Buddens of the world and whatnot. Bro, I don't need no more clout, bro. Like, I became famous on accident, bro. I was just trying to be influential.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to be influential. That's a bar that I put in a song.
Those are two terms that get conflated a lot, because you can be influential to your immediate circle, to your neighborhood, to your community. That doesn't diminish the importance of influence. That doesn't mean that you're like, superstar. Oh, he's influential. Look how influential he is.
I was influential as Mr. Augustine, the middle school teacher. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just saw an opportunity to scale that influence and to say, wow, like I feel the constraints of being a middle school teacher, because once the principal found out that I rapped on the side, the principal actually gave me an ultimatum. You feel me? The principal was like, nah, if you're doing this rapping stuff, then I don't think you're dedicating yourself fully to your career as an educator. And vice versa. I feel like you're doing both of them a disservice. So this man gave me an ultimatum, and I know it was because, especially back then, especially where we from in Louisiana, when you think of somebody being a rapper, you automatically think, oh, they out here pushing all that stuff that our kids don't need to hear. They glorifying murder, they glorifying disrespecting women, da-da-da. So I was just like, man, the public school system is actually going to kind of like hold me back from being my full self. So I was just like, let me try it as a rapper. You know what I'm saying? I made $39,000 a year as a middle school teacher. I taught for 2 years, and that was before taxes. But I saved up my money. I kept driving my 1998 Honda Accord. I didn't have, a particularly name brand ridden wardrobe or anything. I was really frugal, and I saved a lot, because once I realized that there's going to be a day where I'm going to have to stop teaching because I've been presented with this ultimatum, I wanted to have some cushion, you know what I mean, to live off of. And I was like, I'm going to try it. You know what I mean? I'm going to take a leap of faith. I know God got a plan for me, but I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to handle my biz. That's my mindset, bro. When I stopped teaching, it wasn't like Kanye when he was the college dropout, but really he had deals on the table. He had big production placements. I never made a dime off of music when I had stopped teaching. And I was like, I'm gonna try it out and see what happens. If it don't work, I could always go back to teaching. I got a business degree. I could go work for some company, you know what I mean? But that's how all that happened, man. So for me, what I go through currently is just something to where, like, I've always been the dude who was performing, and that's the last thing I say. I always been the dude who was performing music that's clean, that's pushing a progressive message, you know what I'm saying? And that is bold, about my faith in God, all that stuff. But I'm in spaces, I'm in the same club as Lil Boosie. I'm in the same club as Kevin Gates, performing these songs. Because for me, number one, I didn't know that like, oh, maybe there's a whole nother scene. I'll just go take the scene of performing in churches, you know. I didn't even know that. I grew up in the Catholic church. There was no hip hop in the Catholic church. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So number one was that. But number two, I think I grew like a love for performing in front of people and holding space with people who, like, when I am shining my light, I can see their light flick on, you know, by being around me. And I see that they have it. We all have the light in us, just like we all have darkness in us. So I grew addicted to like, man, I want to give you the courage through seeing how I'm existing in these spaces to feel good about shining your light. You know what I mean? Because it's not that you don't have it. It's just that you don't feel the courage or the opportunity to shine it because we surrounded by it. We grew up in so much darkness. You know what I mean? I grew up in that darkness, bro. Like, I just had a family that, like, they kept the lights on. You know what I mean?
Figuratively.
And literally. And figuratively.
Yeah, that's beautiful.